Alright, the next questions are on leading. Kevin, do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Charming. How would you lead your team at work as a manager?
I think I would lead my team at work as a manager as just creating an even balance between my team. Like obviously workload, just even sort of attention to every employee. Like you don't want to leave anyone neglected, or you don't want to have so much work on one person, because then others will feel like, well, why can't we have the work? Like, do we not feel more important enough?
Yes.
So it needs to be a very even balance between everything.
What skills do you think a leader should have?
I think there should be many skills like a leader should have. Obviously,
Give me a few examples.
yeah, like probably like an authoritative view on everything. Very like stern with when it comes down to it, it has to be very stern. It can't be very like too like soft. Basically, it needs to be very on point. It needs to delegate workload properly. What skills? You have to be very confident as well. Because if you're not confident with your employees, then I think the employees' opinions and views would get overtaken and overridden, and then obviously their opinions will start running what's going on, and you won't have any control over it. So being able to have control and be very confident, see a balance with all those things would make for a good leader.
So why do you think leading? Why do you think leading is needed at work?
Just to, obviously with businesses, a lot of things go on at the same time, so you need many leaders that have all these traits to keep everything in control and in line. Obviously, because there's so many people below the people that are at the top, you need leaders there to just keep everything in control.
Yeah. And finally, with leading, what other things do you think would be used or relevant or relate with leading?
Things would be probably being able to take on board people's views, even though you might not agree with it, but then be able to handle different views and different opinions well, and then obviously take that on board and just give a developed answer or developed idea of what you want to get to.
Yep, that's fine. That's all for the leading questions. Thank you very much. Yep. Next few questions on leading.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Not a problem, go ahead.
Okay, first question. How do you lead your team at work as a manager?
Firstly, I lead by example. I dress smart, always make sure my clothes are ironed, so I make sure my appearance is good, so they think, oh, if the manager's got clean clothes, press and iron, we should have clean clothes, press and iron. Secondly, I motivate him, and I guide him. I don't tell him, I guide him. I tell him where they're going wrong and how they should go about it. So I'm leading them in a way that they don't know that I'm doing it as a friend.
Yep. So the next question is that what skills should a leader have, do you think?
Communication skills. You should be able to talk to his staff on different levels. You should be able to talk to them. Let's say in busy periods, a lot of staff get angry, annoyed, and fussed. He should know how to come across in those sort of periods. Or say if there's a fight or an argument at work, he should be dynamic. The word is dynamic. He should be dynamic. Be able to come across in different situations and environments.
Yeah. Why is leading needed at work, you think?
To make sure everybody's working towards the common goal, the main target of the store, and to ensure that no one's out of place.
Yeah. So the final question is with leading, what else do you think could go with it, relates with leading?
Oh, same skills as a manager. Really, they should be able to communicate. Same skills as a manager. Edit this shit. A leader should be able to communicate effectively and be able to execute tasks and hand out tasks and place people where they need to go in order to make sure that the operation gets completed.
Yeah. And that's all for the leading questions. These are questions on leading. Andres, do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
No problem.
Yeah, alright then. So, how do you lead your team at work as a manager?
As a manager, you have to lead your team by example. So anything you want done, I think it's best you show them how it's done, so that way there's no room for confusion, and that way they also know to the T what needs to be done. So by sheer example.
Alright then. So what skills do you think a leader should have?
You should have good communication skills, good motivational skills, being able to adapt, I think, is the most important because every individual is different and every situation is different. So if you can't adapt yourself and your leadership style, then you're not a very good leader.
Yeah. So like, why is leading? Why is that leading needed at work?
I think when employees are at work, they get caught into this blame culture, whereas they'll say that the manager said do this, and they're a bit reluctant to do it because some people have the feeling that managers just all the people around. So, like with a leader, you need that because they're doing it and they're showing you what needs to be done instead of just pointing the finger, which I think is very essential.
So like, finally, then again, like, what else do you think is related, or what else do you think you need with leading?
I don't think anything else is really needed. Like I said, I think it's just all about motivating your staff. And you can't do that without effective communication, and you can't do that without being able to adapt to your employees and situation.
That's it for the leading questions. Thank you very much.
No